Hey, what is up everyone? Kolst here. So while I was streaming on Twitch yesterday, I came up with an idea for a video which I haven't seen anyone really talk about super in depth. So right here I have all the 2 drops listed in descending order of how popular they are, how often you see them in the arena. And number 1 we have Wandmaker. And I thought it would be interesting to talk about Wandmaker because it is a card which is not as equally good in every class as we will get into. So starting out at the bottom, we have the worst class for Wandmaker, which is Rogue. Maybe a bit of a surprising because it definitely didn't used to be this way, but as you can see, there are 2 absolutely unpickable cards here. And really, there isn't really anything that good. Secret Passage, of course, is an amazing constructed card, but it doesn't quite do as much in Arena just because, your deck isn't built around, having a bunch of super low cost stuff. So its value tends to be rather limited. So Brain Freeze being the best pick, but it's worth noting, out of the 7 options, like the 3rd best option is Yoink, which just really isn't that good, like on average, you're getting something worse than Yoink. It's just, in general, Wandmaker just isn't providing enough value to be good in Rogue. You honestly would rather pick some other premium 2-drop. We can check out the overall win rates here, and if you sort by Rogue, you can see Wandmaker is way down here, below Horrendous Growth, and even like Direwolf Alpha, a bunch of like not even super premium 2-drops. It just is not performing very well in this class, and I think for a pretty clear reason looking at these data points. However, in spite of that, it's worth noting if you sort by deck percentage, it's still by far the most popular 2-drop above cards that are performing much, much better than it. Okay, so moving on to second worst on the list, we have Paladin. So Paladin, this one probably less of a surprise. This is one where it's been obvious forever that, especially because of secrets, 1-mana spells aren't as good. The thing is like, since the core set rotation though, the worst thing you get is Galloping Savior, which is a card people still actually like to draft, probably more than they should, but you're not going to get something completely useless, right, as compared to Rogue, so, you won't have high hopes, but you might actually get something, pretty good if you get one of the best secrets or Conviction or First Day of School, so it's okay. It's just not great on average. Again, just a situation where you just wouldn't want to have high expectations for it. And if you look at the win rate again, it's not doing too great. It's way down here. I think that's probably about the same as where it was in Rogue. It looks like slightly higher, but yeah, not doing super hot. Okay, so moving on to third worst, or I guess we're now at number 8 on the list for classes to pick Wandmaker in. We are at Hunter. So Hunter is a bit interesting. You're very unlikely to actually get something useless. I mean, Lock and Load may or may not be useless depending on what you have. Arcane Shot, usually not super happy, but I mean, you're usually going to get something decent, right? And I mean, overall, Wandmaker is a good card, and I mean, this is, especially since the core set rotation, this is reflecting. We're already at number 8 at the point where you're usually going to get something pretty good. It's just usually not going to be something super game-changing. Right, except one resizing pouch could obviously a turn later give you Ysera, which could be very, very game changing. But I mean, yeah, there are some good options here. It's just that there are a lot of sometimes underwhelming options. So at this point, Wandmaker is going to be doing pretty well. If you look at the win rates here, Wandmaker is moving up quite a bit. It's moved up a couple more slots, just sorting by 2-drops, and you can reflect that a bit as it is actually the most popular 2-drop. I think it's worth noting that in Hunter, it's just one of those classes where you really just want to be on board as much as possible, so even though you get pretty good spells off of it, it's hurt a little bit by just the fact that you'd rather have something that provides more tempo. Moving on, next on the list we have Demon Hunter. So if you look at Demon Hunter, this is pretty interesting. This one, I will say, it does depend on your deck, because one thing you should actually be thinking about on how you're valuing Wandmaker is how can you actually play a double jump and get value out of it? Do you have enough outcast cards? And even to an extent, like, do you have demons? Do you have the ability to actually get value out of Philosophy? Because Philosophy conveniently, goes straight into the outcast slot. So if you can play Philosophy right when you get it off Wandmaker, it can be pretty nice. But it can also be, completely useless. And that's the thing, is that honestly, Wandmaker in the right deck is amazing. It would automatically go to like probably one of the best on this entire list. But, on average, it's just not that great. And a lot of these spells are just kind of, by the time you're playing Wandmaker, underwhelming. But, a lot of these cards like Fellscream Blast, Fury, Frogglaive especially, and Ildar Stars, they can be great. So again, Wandmaker pretty good in this class, but much better than the classes I've listed previously. So if you look at the overall here, you do see they've done some weird things with like Demon Hunters, so the offering rate. So you do see Wandmaker way down here. I don't think this is because people aren't picking it. I think it's because it's probably seen less. They've really screwed with the offering rate for neutrals in Demon Hunter. But yeah, win rate wise, oh, it was the win rates were matched up pretty well actually with the offering percentages. So yeah, okay, that's Demon Hunter. Moving on to next on our list, we have Warlock. So Warlock is a very interesting one because compared to the others, it is very hit or miss. You can win the game very easily, single-handedly because of Wandmaker if it gives you something like a Shadow Council when you play it, especially if you play it on turn like 3. If you just play Wandmaker Shadow Council on 3, very amazing. But you can also get, you know, completely useless cards. Dark Pact, Altar of Fire. So it's very, very hit or miss compared to the others, which might be much more consistent. This is more of a swing for the fences. And if you're looking at the Warlock specific stats here, you see Wandmaker is the most popular pick, and it's down here. It's still moving up steadily, but this is where it's starting to pass some premium 2-drops here, like Restore and Initiate, and getting to Sneaky Delinquent territory. All right, so next on the list we have Druid. So Druid is where we're moving now into the top 5, and this is the case where there really isn't anything bad you can get off of this. The worst thing you can get in Bark Skin, which, you know, gives a minion 3 health and gains 3 armor. Not a lot of value, but I mean that's a lot of it's doing a lot for a card, right? And that's the worst thing you can get, right? You can get removal, and there's all of these. There's so many discover options that give you a lot of value, and then the highest rated card here is actually Adorable Infestation, just for that tempo. In Druid now, you're always going to get something playable and usually something extremely good. Now, if you look at the stats for Druid here, we're at the point now where Wandmaker still, these cards are all really close, but yeah, Wandmaker is up right and approaching the top level here by win rate, and justifiably it is in the top slot for pick rate as well. All right, so next on the list at number 4 now we have Mage. So Mage is interesting because there are only 5 options for 1-mana spells you can actually get. One of them is terrible, well, sometimes terrible, sometimes amazing actually, which is Snap Freeze. That's the thing, is that sometimes you don't plan on this, but then you realize you have this, and then, oh wait, I actually have a freeze, right? And then you can actually get amazing value. Sometimes it's completely useless, but otherwise, you know, that's a 1 in 5. But generally, if you're not getting that 1 in 5 low roll, quote unquote low roll, then you're getting something really good. Brain Freeze, which was the best choice in Rogue as well. But then also Devolving Missiles, which is amazing. Studies, which is great in Mage. And Shooting Star, which is a very good removal that often you will want in Mage. And it can synergize particularly well with the Wandmaker, because if the Wandmaker gets traded into by a 2-3, right, then the Shooting Star will just help you clean up and lose that disadvantage and hit other stuff as well. So in Mage, we're at the point where this card is getting pretty good on average. You just hope you miss that 1 in 5 low roll. Looking at the win rates here, this is the pick rate. You can see Wandmaker is extremely popular, maybe almost too popular in Mage. But, you know, it's way up there win rate wise, so it's justified to an extent. It's only 0.2% away from the top win rate 2-drop in the entire class for neutrals. All right, so now we're moving on to top 3 on the list, and at number 3 we have Warrior. So Warrior is another case where there are only 6 things you can get. Warrior isn't known for having an insane number of spells, right? But the thing is that 4 of these spells you can get are extremely good. Athletic Studies being at the top of the list, Stage Dive being at the top, assuming, you know, maybe it's a bit worse given that you might not actually have Rush if you weren't planning because you didn't drop the Stage Dive, but hopefully you have Rush. Usually you have Rush and Warrior. And then you get 2 very good cards as well, Sword and Board Shield of Honor. Whirlwind sometimes is good. Again, it can kind of be the same thing as, you know, all the other cone-shaped AoEs for 1 mana. And then the last one is Shield Slam. Shield Slam usually not great, but you can usually at least get something out of it, so you're not going to get something completely useless here. That's part of what made this go into the number 3 slot over Mage. And if you're looking at the win rates here, Warriors here, you can see Wandmaker basically at the top of the list, Artificer being number 1, but maybe that's a bit of a data outlier. There isn't a lot of data as this is an epic, but yeah, Wandmaker showing as the number 1 win rate card essentially in the class, and also being very popular as well. Peon actually being more popular. That might be because of offering rate though, not just, you know, pick rate, but yeah. People like Peon because of the Frenzy synergy in Warrior as well, so makes sense, I guess. But Wandmaker's significantly overperforming it. Alright, so now we're moving into the top 2 on the list here. This is where Wandmaker is essentially thought of as maybe one of the most broken cards, even a card worth complaining about in the class, even in Constructed in this case, this particular case. Here we have at number 2, I think probably surprising a lot of people it's not at number 1, is Priest. So the thing about Priest is that Priest has, you know, some of the best Wandmaker hits in the entire game, if not, it'd be probably too much to say the 2 best hits, but I mean, Draconic Studies and Renew, these are, you know, things that people complain about in Constructed. Getting off of Wandmaker, you know, is just extremely strong. The reason that made this fall below number 1 on my list though was just that there is a pretty significant chance that you actually low roll, because, you know, Flash Heal isn't completely useless, but, you know, it's not what you want. Lather Naru, Focused Will, situationally can be good, but it's the same thing. So the odds of you actually getting the high rolls aren't quite as high as you would like them to be. So that held Priest back from number 1 on this list. So we have it at number 2, and if you look at the win rates here, Wandmaker is clearly the most popular card in Priest, and also it is the 2nd highest win rate, right behind Imprisoned Vile Fiend. Another amazing card in Priest, because Vile Fiend you can use to guarantee bumps. You can get initiative on an Apotheosis, for example. It can be pretty crazy, so as it is in most classes. So Vile Fiend's an amazing card. And then what is number 1? If you've been keeping track of the classes, you already know, but I guess I won't be behind too long. It is Shaman. So Shaman is one of the examples where there are so many good things you can get. They do so many different things, but, you know, you're almost guaranteed to get something amazing in a Shaman. Compared to Priest, where you're pretty likely to, it's more hit or miss, Shaman you're almost always getting something good. The only real low roll is Revolve, but sometimes Revolve is good, it's just usually not, but occasionally it might be the best card in the game for your situation, right? But after that, the second worst card, you're getting is Lightning Bolt, which is, you know, a good card. And then there's all of these generations, AoEs, and Stable Evolution is one of the most broken cards in the game, along with Devolving Missiles. So just incredible things that you're getting off of Shaman here. And the win rate, Thalnos is really high, but that's low data. You can see that Wandmaker is actually, after Thalnos, at the number 1 for win rate in Shaman. And justifiably it is number 1 in pick rate as well. Well, yeah, that's the list. So thanks a lot for hanging out, everyone. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, by the way, I don't plug this too often. A lot of times I can't, but according to my metrics, 67% of the people watching are not subscribed. So if you haven't done that, make sure to do that. Makes me know that you appreciate the content and all that stuff. If you have any ideas for what other kind of content you like to see, because this was actually something brought up in Twitch chat that really spurred this idea. So anything, if you have any ideas, make sure to leave that in the comment section below, or otherwise you can leave a comment about what surprised you in this list, anything like that. I think especially Warrior was pretty surprising how high it was, because people don't really view Warrior in that way. But yeah, other than that, thanks a lot again, everyone. We'll see you guys next time.